Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kimothy, and on this channel we speak everything personal finance. And when I say everything personal finance, I mean everything personal finance. In today's video, we'll be talking about how much car you can afford and the car rules that I personally go by. Car payments are on the rise. These rising costs, it is important to make good decisions when buying a new car. I want you all to know that I am not a huge advocate for buying new or used cars, especially with car payments. I believe that the money that goes to car payments will put you further ahead in your finances if you put them towards the market, towards a Roth IRA, or towards your retirement. Putting more money towards your retirement and not towards your cars will set you up for a better financial future. I want you guys to focus on the car buying rules that I will be giving you with the 23-8 rule. But I also want you to realize that you don't need to use this rule, especially if you can go out and buy a $5,000 to $10,000 car in cash. That is what I would recommend. Personally, me, I bought a $2,000 car about 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm still driving it. And the money that I will be putting towards a new car with the 23-8 rule or any other rule is going to my retirement. So without further ado, let's get into the 23-8 rule. Now, the 23-8 rule was popularized by the Money Guys. I'm not sure if you guys know them, but definitely check them out. They are a very good resource for personal finance. Basically saying you put 20% down on a car for 3 years, and the car payment cannot be more than 8% of your pre-tax income. So let's break down the 20%. So 20%, you put 20% down on a vehicle. Now, the reason to put 20% down on a vehicle is so you have some skin in the game. You don't want to go buy a vehicle where you put no money down, because as soon as you drive off the lot, that vehicle is losing about 1/3 of its value, especially for a new car. And for a 3-year loan, you want to aim for a 3-year loan because we are paying less interest for the vehicle in total. The total cost of the vehicle is less if you're financing it on a 3-year loan. A lot of cars are financed on a 5-year loan, 4-year loan. We are going to be putting our cars on 3-year loans, meaning the payment will be higher, which I will talk about later in the video. And for the 8, you want to make sure that your vehicle loan payment is not more than 8% of your pre-tax income. This is really just to keep your budget in check, making sure that you're not paying too much for a car, especially if you're doing monthly payments on it. We don't want to be strained by car payments. These car payments should be just coming out easy so we can focus on the more important things like our house payment, like investing, taking care of our children, our family. We don't want this car payment to be a strain. We want to make sure that this car payment is under 8% of our income. And remember what I said, I don't want you to go out and get a car loan. I prefer you to buy a $5,000, $10,000 car, a 2005, a 2010 vehicle that has good mileage, good safety rating. You know, you can take these cars to a mechanic, get them checked out before you buy them, just to be sure they are a good car and safe for you. If you are tight on money, if you don't have $5,000 or $10,000 put towards a car, this is a great rule to go by, the 23-8 rule. For this last one, the car payment should be no more than 8% of your total income. So let's crunch some numbers for how much car you can afford by salary. This is what you came here for. With the average new car costing about $47,000, the 23-8 rule may be pretty hard to adhere to. And what's going to happen here is that we most likely won't be getting a $47,000 car, especially when the average income is around $50,000 to $70,000. $47,000 car just not gonna fit. So I'm gonna give you 4 different salaries and how much you can afford according to the 23-8 rule. And if you make the salaries that I'm listing, leave a comment below on how much your car payment is, and if you even have a car payment. If you made a salary of $40,000, that means your monthly pre-tax income would be around $3,333. Your monthly car payment should be around 8% of your monthly pre-tax income, which is $267 on a 3-year loan. And just know that paying $267 monthly for 3 years will put you in a better financial situation than extending this payment out, than buying a more expensive car, you know, at $267 or $300 a month for 5 years when you're paying way more interest on your money. The total cost of ownership on this car is way more when you're extending these loans or buying cars that you just can't afford. And if you make $60,000, your monthly pre-tax income is about $5,000. Your maximum car payment should be more than 8% of your monthly pre-tax income, bringing your car payment to $400. Now, I'm not here saying you should do this. I'm not here recommending that you should do this. But if you do need a car, if your car did just blow up and got destroyed, these are rules you can follow to still hopefully be good financially. Like I said, I still recommend that you pay for cars in cash. I recommend that you buy a $10,000 car, $5,000 car, paid in cash, and invest the money that would be going to this new car to the market. Invest this $400 instead of putting it towards a car payment. But if you did need a car payment, this is something that you can do. And for the third salary range, if you made $80,000 a year, your pre-tax income would be around $6,667, and your monthly car payment should be no more than 8% of your monthly pre-tax income. So your car payment would be around $533. And finally, if you made $100,000 a year, your pre-tax monthly income would be around $8,333, and your car payment would be around $667. But also, when buying a car, remember that your insurance should be factored in. Gas, the newer the car, the more the insurance is going to be, the more premium the car, the more maintenance is going to be, the more gas is going to be. But just keep that in mind when you do look at this rule. Don't just look at it as black and white. There's all kind of little things that you should consider when buying a car, especially if it's new or used. And when you go to the dealership, just know that they will be hoping that you extend your car payment. I have a couple reasons why it's bad to extend car loans, why it is detrimental to your financial growth and your finances. Longer loans generally come with higher interest rates. We don't want to have 15% interest rates. We don't want to have 20% interest rates when the market, the S&P 500 is getting 10 to 12%. We want lower interest rates. So just be sure to get your credit good as well, so you can get the lowest interest rate possible. But we want to stay on this 3-year loan. We don't want to go to 5 years. 5 years paying 20%, 15% interest rate is insane. Depreciation is another reason why we don't want to extend our loans more than 3 years. Cars depreciate as soon as you drop the lot. By extending your loan term for more years, we are vulnerable to the risk of your car depreciating more than what you owe in the loan, which means you're underwater. And also, extending your loan for multiple years creates financial strain. Paying 15% to 20% interest rate on a car for 5 years hurts our ability to invest. We want to pay this car off as soon as possible so we can put this money towards our investments, so we can retire before 67, so we can retire before 65. We don't want to mess around, especially if you're in your 20s. These are your best years. If you're in your 30s, these are your best years to start investing. These are the best years for your accounts to grow with compound interest. The more you invest early on, the better you will be off in the future. So we want to pay this car off as soon as possible. That's why we want to use 3-year loan or pay in cash. And what about the used car market? I really recommend that you go shop for cars in the used car market. Stay away from the new cars. As soon as you drop it off the lot, like I said, they lose a lot of their value. These cars are not changing. They're remaining the same. The body styles change after 5 to 6 years. You could buy a 2021 and compare it to the 2024, it might look the same, or most likely looks the same. It does the same thing. So why not buy these used cars and have already lost a lot of value? So when you drive off the lot, you're not taking the hit for the value loss in your vehicle. We also want to consider the loan term. 3-year loan is very important. Stretching your loan term out to 5 to 6 years just to lower the car payment can tempt us to spend more money in different areas. When we're not really getting the car for any cheaper, we're getting it for more money, because over time we are paying more money for the total cost of ownership of this car. Definitely consider the loan term. We're doing 3-year loans, and don't pay more than your thresholds of your 8% of your pre-tax monthly income. And I also want to give you guys some tips for cutting car costs. There are a lot of things you can do to cut car costs. Buy used cars. Depreciation has already dipped a lot. If you buy the used car, you already missed a lot of depreciation. You can also shop insurances. There are different companies that will offer you better insurance premiums. You're not locked in with any kind of insurance provider, so definitely shop insurances. Also consider fuel efficiency. Gas prices are up. They're not as high as they used to be, but they are definitely up. So you might not want to get a car that takes premium gas. Get a car that takes the cheapest gas out there. Get a car that's good on mileage, because you have to understand that the amount of time we actually spend in our car is maybe 3 hours a day. If you're commuting to work, if you're running errands, we're not in our car. We're in our house. We're out. We're with family for majority of the time. So you want to put a lot of your focus into that. Your car, it just gets you from point A to point B, and we're not in there a lot. Definitely have a safe car, but just understand that we're barely in our cars if you think about it. Buying a new car is great, I know, but we're not out here trying to impress people we don't know what they like. I know that buying the $15,000 car or buying the $5,000, $10,000 car is not a head turner. But we have to understand that we are setting ourselves up for the future. We are setting our kids up for the future. And by buying these new $47,000, $40,000 cars, we are hurting ourselves. We are putting ourselves behind the ball. New cars lose their value quickly. So let's focus on buying used, reliable cars that will get us to point A to point B, because we want to be millionaires. We don't want to be perceived as millionaires. But I do want to give you guys an example. If you didn't have a $500 car payment, if you didn't have a $400 car payment, what if you put this money into the market? How much would you get a certain amount of years? So I want to give you guys an example. For instance, if you avoided paying a $500 car payment, if you put that in the market at a 7% rate of return for 10 years, you have over $83,000 by just staying away from car payments, staying away from lease payments, and putting that money towards the market. And if you invested that over 20 years, you have about $260,000 invested. This is very important because we really want to prepare for our future. Our car is such a minimal thing. Our future is way more important. So we want to invest this money into the market. We want to get this car payment out the way as soon as possible, which is why we use a 3-loan term. The 23-8 rule is a great rule to go by. It's a practical framework for when you're buying a car with a loan. Just know that the kind of car you get doesn't define the kind of person you are. Don't think about the judgment or that you may or may not perceive, because you're not out here trying to impress people that you don't know at the red light. The biggest thing with the 23-8 rule is it might be a reality check. You may have thought that you could afford the $30,000 car, when in fact you can afford the $20,000 to $15,000 car, and that's completely fine. Just be sure to find a reliable car that's good on gas, that gets you to point A to point B. Like I said earlier in the video, we're only in our cars for about 3 hours to 5 hours, maybe. Not even 5 hours, 3 hours. If you're commuting, maybe less. So the fact that you are buying a $47,000 car or $35,000 car just doesn't make sense. We want to make sure we're choosing a vehicle that aligns with our financial goals and what we want to accomplish in our life. We want to create a stable future. We want to buy a vehicle that's going to allow us to create that stable future. Remember, it's okay to drive a modest vehicle. You don't have to have a vehicle with all the glitz and the glam and the fashion. We just have to have a stable, reliable vehicle that's going to get us from point A to point B. And just remember that the 23-8 rule can serve as a valuable tool for the complexities of buying a new or used car. Stay tuned for more tips and more insights on money management. Also, watch my last video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and I will see you guys in the next one.